New confrontations between pro-Palestinian protesters and police, and reaction to the atmosphere on UCLA's campus is mixed.
Toxic, really. Even when there's nothing going on visibly on campus, everyone feels very tense.
Students are prioritizing what really matters to them.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Dozens of people have been arrested after those new clashes on the UCLA campus. As Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf reports, this resurgence of protests comes as students are trying to get through finals week.
New video of violence returning to campus Monday at UCLA. A security guard hit, bleeding from his forehead.
You're not safe! You're not safe!
Hecklers following and taunting a school administrator.
Tell me how much you love America, maybe. Come on.
Pedophile rabbi.
The rabbi and director of Chabad at UCLA Jewish Student Center live streaming on Instagram. Agitators grabbing and throwing his phone.
Being confronted with people who are masked is a little bit disturbing.
I'm gonna make that phone disappear.
Why do you think they acted like that towards you?
I mean, I'm very visibly Jewish. I was wearing my rabbinic hat, so I'm sure it had a lot to do with that. Perceive Jewish people as the enemies, then worthy of, I guess, singling out or attacking.
We declared a citywide attack alert and had resources respond to the location.
LAPD and the California Highway Patrol called in Monday as pro-Palestinian protesters tried several times to set up a new camp. The group moved barricades and carried shields, dyeing a fountain red, symbolizing bloodshed overseas. This woman grabbed by university police while using a megaphone. 25 people arrested.
I think the heavy police force on UCLA campus is completely unnecessary, and they're trying to intimidate and threaten students.
UCLA's campus Tuesday, relatively quiet for finals week.
It's a week full of craziness and stress, but also hard work.
Now more than a month of on and off protest.
Toxic, really. Even when there's nothing going on visibly on campus, everyone feels very tense. And everyone feels that the atmosphere has been poisoned.
Students are prioritizing what really matters to them, and if they have to go out there and protest and speak out against the genocide that's happening, that's amazing.
Reporting at UCLA, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
UC Berkeley has submitted a second request for a federal judge to dismiss a lawsuit that accuses the school of failing to respond to anti-Semitism on campus. That request was made after the original complaint was amended to include the school's handling of recent pro-Palestinian protests. The original complaint was made last year after claims some student law groups adopted anti-Zionism bylaws. The school says the complaint is premature because it's still in the process of investigating recent protests, and the law group's action is protected under the First Amendment. Today, a jury in Delaware found Hunter Biden guilty on 3 firearms charges, and now the president's son prepares for sentencing and another criminal trial coming up here in the West. Today's conviction stemmed from Hunter Biden's purchase of a gun while using drugs. A jury found him guilty on 2 counts related to false statements he made on federal background check forms. A third count was tied to his possession of a gun while addicted to or using illegal drugs.
Case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun, and the choice to then possess that gun.
A sentencing date has not been set yet in this case. While he could get up to 25 years in prison, first-time offenders do not usually get anywhere near the maximum. President Biden told ABC News earlier this week that he would not pardon his son in this case. Hunter Biden's legal troubles now shift west to California later this year. Jury selection is set to begin in September in his Los Angeles trial on tax charges. He's accused of filing false tax forms for several years. Hunter Biden has pleaded not guilty in that case and has paid $1.4 million in back taxes. On the same day his son was found guilty on those firearms charges, President Biden spoke at a gun violence prevention conference in Washington, D.C. The president did not mention his son's conviction during his speech. The address comes nearly 2 years after the president signed the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which enhanced gun background checks and increased money for mental health programs. The president got a strong response when he renewed a call for a ban on assault weapons.
You're changing the nation. It builds upon the dozen of executive actions my administration has taken to reduce gun violence, more than any of my predecessors, and I suspect more than all of them combined. Everything from cracking down on ghost guns, gun trafficking, so much more. Folks, we're not stopping there. It's time once again to do what I did when I was a senator. Ban assault weapons.
According to the Justice Department, more than 500 defendants have been charged under the Safer Communities Act. And President Biden will be in California this Friday. Talk show host Jimmy Kimmel is set to moderate a discussion between the president and former President Obama happening in downtown Los Angeles. Former President Trump plans to meet privately with Republicans in Congress this week. The meeting's happening Thursday will mark the presumptive Republican presidential nominee's first trip to Capitol Hill since his supporters stormed that building back on January 6th of 2021. A senior Trump campaign official says meetings with senators will focus on policy issues, including tax cuts. The exact details of what's going to be discussed with House Republicans have not been disclosed. Shifting now to talk about our weather here in the West. An excessive heat returned today to parts of the Southwest. Here is a live look tonight at conditions in Phoenix. This is the downtown area, and temperatures in the valley topped out over 110 degrees today here. And that's not the only place where temperatures were soaring today. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who can break down just how long this warm up across the West is going to last. Hey, Mark.
Well, hi there, Alex. Yeah, we're talking about these warnings in place for today, and some of these are in place right on through Thursday. As you can see on the maps here, so the reds indicate excessive heat warnings and the yellows indicate heat advisories. So yeah, still that major dangerous heat showing up on this map for today. And in some areas, this will continue into Wednesday and into Thursday. Not so much for the San Francisco Bay Area. Temperatures begin to cool off for tomorrow. Take a look at some of the highs from this afternoon. There's 113 in Phoenix, 110 in Palm Springs, 108 in Las Vegas, Redding up in Northern California, 106 degrees. But Phoenix, very close to a record. The record today was 114 degrees. The high, there's that 113. And take a look at that low, it's basically in the lower 80s. So warm start to the day in the morning hours, and then temperatures really extreme into the afternoon hours. So the camera's hard to capture all that heat out there, but still that 113 really popping up off the map here. In San Francisco, it'd be nice to have some of this fog to cool off Phoenix, but you can see it was in place today. Earlier today, right around the Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco, warm 74. And then up in Seattle, a sun-cloud mix, temperatures in the upper 60s, and that'll be the story once again for tomorrow. Current numbers right now, it is 109 in the Phoenix area, Los Angeles 61, some 60s for Portland and in Seattle. And here's the overall weather picture of the satellite. No major storms to track here. You can see a few clouds approaching the Pacific Northwest, and we have the typical marine layer clouds down in Southern California, at least for the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. And that will be the game plan for tomorrow. Partly sunny in Phoenix, temperatures in the 60s. We begin to cool things off for the San Francisco Bay Area. San Francisco will be in the 60s. 70s for Southern California. Eventually, we're talking about that extreme heat in Arizona, and it's warm to hot in Denver. Temperatures will be in the 90s. Here is the plan for tomorrow in Los Angeles, starting out the day in the 60s at 9 a.m. and then on track to reach the 70s. So areas of fog in the morning, clearing to mostly sunny skies into the afternoon hours. And here is the forecast model showing you once again some triple digits for Vegas, also out toward Phoenix. That's where we're going to find all the heat, and also in portions of California and Southern California, and in the inland valleys of the Central Valley. San Francisco will be approaching the 60s. So here is the forecast, as you can see, over the next several days, over the next 3 days. No big changes up in Seattle. San Francisco has cooled off. Will continue to do so. The typical fog in the morning for Southern California, but once again, that real dangerous heat returns Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. We're talking about the temperatures still up above 100 degrees. Hopefully things could change, because that is excessive heat, and that'll be the story over the next several days.
Yeah, we'll hope that backs off soon. Mark, thank you. An appeal by disgraced Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes was heard today in San Francisco federal court. Holmes was not in the courtroom. She's now 1 year into an 11-year sentence at a federal prison in Texas for defrauding investors with false claims about her company's blood testing technology. Legal experts have described Holmes' appeal as a long shot. Her attorneys say the prosecution failed to prove that Holmes hoodwinked investors while knowing full well the deficiencies of her product. Today, the appeals court judge submitted the matter for a later decision. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, help when a sheriff's deputy expected it least.
And we ended up going to the ground. So while I'm trying to place him in custody is when this bystander pulls in front, gets out of his truck.
We have the dash camera video tonight of his struggle with a suspect and how a mystery Good Samaritan jumped in to help. Coming up tonight, the deputy asked that hero to come forward. Also, an Arizona man survived falling over the side of a cliff in Switzerland, and tonight he is sharing his long journey to get back home. A judge in Utah has signed a death warrant for a lethal injection execution. Now, lawyers for Tabaron Honey are challenging the state's new drug cocktail of ketamine, fentanyl, and potassium chloride. Honey was convicted of sexually assaulting and murdering Claudia Ben, the mother of his ex-girlfriend, back in 1998. The death sentence is set to be carried out on August 8th. The last execution in Utah was done by firing squad in 2010. An Oregon judge has sentenced a man to 2 years in prison for drugging 3 girls during his daughter's sleepover last year. 57-year-old Michael Maiden of Lake Oswego was convicted of giving the girls a drug to treat insomnia mixed into a smoothie. One girl stayed awake and says she witnessed Maiden repeatedly checking to see if they were all awake. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, she texted her mom for help, and all the girls were picked up and brought to the hospital.
I have cried and I have raged, all while doing my best to wrap my daughter in all the love and support I can possibly give her to help her heal from what you did. Look at me.
Maiden apologized and told the court he was afraid the girls would sneak out of the house and he wanted them to stay asleep.
I'd love if he would come down to my office and sit down and have a cup of coffee with me, and I'll tell him thank you face to face.
That message tonight for the Good Samaritan who helped a Nevada sheriff's deputy who was struggling with a suspect. You can see the deputy's dash camera captured that confrontation that happened along a roadway in Nye County, northeast of Las Vegas. As Fox 5's Kim Passoff reports tonight, the deputy is hoping to reunite with that bystander who decided to jump in and help out.
The intoxicated male in the parking lot causing a scene with other individuals.
A man in a yellow shirt walks up to the driver's side door of a deputy's vehicle as he arrives to calls for help outside of Terrible's Lakeside Casino in Pahrump.
I didn't want him wandering in the roadway, so I asked him to step off the roadway. He basically refused, so I had to go hands-on with him.
Within about 15 seconds of arriving on scene, Sheriff's Deputy Jason Roosh found himself scuffling to get the upper hand.
He started resisting, and we ended up going to the ground. So while I'm trying to place him in custody is when this bystander pulls in front, gets out of his truck, and proceeds to help me.
With the help of this unidentified private citizen, Deputy Roosh was able to take the man into custody without injury to himself or the suspect.
He made a couple statements to the suspect to just comply. He helped with grabbing an arm and putting it behind the suspect's back.
Deputy Roosh, who has only been on the job for 9 months, says he is thankful the stranger had his back.
Me personally, as the officer who needed the assistance, and I'm sure as the department, we like to express our appreciation. He probably didn't want the recognition. He's one of those types of people that can be kind of the unrecognized hero.
Nye County Sheriff Joe McGill says he is thankful, too, that there is no way of knowing what this might have become if it hadn't been for this citizen stopping.
If he doesn't want to go on television and make himself known, that's fine, but I'd love if he would come down to my office and sit down and have a cup of coffee with me, and I'll tell him thank you face to face.
And that was Fox 5's Kim Passoth reporting tonight. The sheriff says Nye County is spread out over 18,000 square miles, and sometimes a deputy's backup can take several minutes to arrive. We have an update tonight on a story we brought you last week. 2 people are under arrest in a string of Lego thefts that happened across Los Angeles. 39-year-old Blanca Gudino and 71-year-old Richard Siegel are accused of stealing the toy sets from at least 6 stores. Detectives say they found 2,800 boxes of Legos at Siegel's home. The toys can range in value from $20 a set to up to $1,000 per kit. A federal appeals court has dealt a major legal blow to Uber. The San Francisco-based company sought to challenge a 2020 California law forcing companies to treat drivers as employees and not independent contractors. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled Uber failed to show the law unfairly targeted app-based transportation companies. Uber downplayed the significance of that court ruling since California voters have approved Prop 22, which reclassified rideshare and delivery drivers as independent contractors. However, that law is facing legal challenges as well, with a ruling expected to come from the state Supreme Court. Tesla CEO Elon Musk is threatening to ban Apple devices from all of his companies after Apple announced a partnership with OpenAI. Apple's new operating system will include an update to Siri to let users tap into OpenAI's ChatGPT. Musk went on his X platform to express his concerns, posting that if Apple integrates with OpenAI, it would lead to, quote, an unacceptable security violation. Experts are warning tonight about the toll a major heat wave can take on the farming industry. According to the nonprofit think tank Federation of American Scientists, farm workers are one of the most vulnerable positions in the country to suffering from heat illnesses. Some workers in California's Central Valley are starting their day an hour early, from the usual 6 a.m. to 5 a.m., and ending their day at 11 o'clock in the morning, when the temperatures can already be hitting triple digits. Advocates say that creates another problem.
It's good because it keeps them safe, but the problem is that they don't have unemployment for the days they can't work due to the extreme heat.
Many of these workers already faced work shortages earlier this year because of excessive rain. The White House wants to stop medical debt from appearing on a borrower's credit report. This new proposal would make it easier for millions of Americans applying for credit cards, mortgages, and different types of loans. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says under the current system, people's credit scores are being judged unfairly. The Bureau will begin the process of removing medical bills from credit reports in September, which is expected to allow 22,000 more people to get approval for a mortgage every year. An Arizona man is recovering tonight after falling off a mountain cliff in Switzerland while he was hiking there. Fox 10's Lindsay Regas spoke with the man about how he survived.
I took a video like the second before I fell.
25-year-old Logan Moore wanted to get the right shot on a mountain hike in Switzerland, but a wrong step on wet rock and moss caused him to slip and fall over the edge of a cliff.
How are you?
All right, I've been better.
Plummeting 25 feet and hitting a rock wall that knocked him out, but the fall wasn't over yet.
That platform on my back and that momentum sent me into the crevice, where I fell another 25 feet head first into the crevice and where I got stuck at the bottom.
Luckily, he regained consciousness as he waited for the Switzerland mountain rescue team to save him.
I accepted what it is and kind of said some goodbyes at that point. I didn't know if I was going to make it out. But then once I heard my cousin's voice and my friends overhead, I knew that they weren't going to go anywhere until I was freed.
Within 20 minutes, there was a helicopter overhead with help on the way.
And he was able to put the harness around my legs and over my left shoulder. And they had to bring me up about 10 feet and then traverse a little bit, like 10 feet, because it was so skinny. The crevice was so small.
The next step was to get him to the hospital as quickly as possible.
Attached me to the helicopter, then they landed me in the field where we started the hike, and then put that onto a stretcher and where I got inside the helicopter. And then we took that helicopter to the hospital.
I am beyond grateful for that rescue team.
Now he's back home in Glendale, recovering from surgery at Banner Thunderbird.
I have a broken left scapula on this side that doesn't require surgery. That will just heal over time. And the main thing that just needed surgery was the whole right shoulder and also the right elbow.
Logan's mom flew overseas to bring her son home, thankful he is alive.
And that was Lindsay Regas reporting tonight. Moore tells Fox 10 that his recovery could take 3 to 6 months and that non-refundable tickets to the upcoming Olympic Games are his motivation to heal. Coming up tonight on West Coast Wrap, an Oregon man has his dog to thank for surviving a car crash. Tonight, the dog's miles-long journey to go get help. Plus,
I can kind of be my own boss and work on my own hours.
I don't want to be stuck at work. I want to have a family and I want to spend a lot of time with them.
A lot of Gen Z wants to bypass climbing the corporate ladder. We'll show you how one program here in the West gets younger people thinking about new ways to start careers. An ad agency in Colorado is drawing a lot of interest from members of Gen Z who have a new way of thinking about potential career paths. Fox's Kennedy Hayes shows us how this company is encouraging the younger generation to become entrepreneurs.
High schoolers take field trips here to the Junior Achievement Dream Accelerator. Students use technology to explore different careers and talk to volunteers who are already running their own businesses.
As I grabbed a couple of jobs out of college, I realized pretty quickly there's a lot of freedom that comes with being an entrepreneur. But more than that, there's a lot of opportunity for you to act on the things that you're passionate about.
Matt Morse is the founder of ad agency With Creative. Morse says he started the Denver-based company when he was 25. 3 years later, his team helps clients with everything from video production to graphic design.
I really enjoy the fight to not do something that's always been done. I really enjoy that part of being an entrepreneur.
And Morse says his success didn't come without help, which is why he's volunteering at the Junior Achievement Rocky Mountain Dream Accelerator.
We're divided in probably like 3 to 5 students.
The program takes high schoolers through a series of sessions. Teens take a personality assessment to find out how their strengths match with different careers, use iPads to see their future goals on an interactive mural, and learn about the qualities of thriving entrepreneurs.
Oh, this guy's awesome.
And there's lots of interest from Gen Zers ages 12 to 27. According to a Square Future of Commerce report, a survey last year found more than half of Gen Z consumers say they're considering starting a business.
By the end of it, they choose a career that may be based off of their lifestyle, and that this would be something, I need to make this amount of money if this is the type of lifestyle I want to live, is something that's really beneficial and impactful for them.
Students say they're inspired to start their own companies for different reasons.
So I can kind of be my own boss and work on my own hours.
I don't want to be stuck at work. I want to have a family and I want to spend a lot of time with them.
Entrepreneurs like Morse say it's inspiring to see.
Today I was able to answer a lot of questions that I wish I could have had answered for me.
The Accelerator program has only been open for about a year, and already almost 69,000 high school students have gone through. In Denver, Kennedy Hayes, Fox News.
Finally tonight in Oregon, a man who crashed his truck into a ravine was rescued after his loyal dog ran off to find help. The driver was stranded for hours after his truck went over an embankment in the mountainous northeastern part of the state. The driver had 4 dogs with him, and one of them ran 4 miles to the campsite where the victim was staying with his family. The dog's appearance at the campsite prompted family members to search for the man, and ultimately they called authorities. First responders came in. They used a complex rope system to rescue that man after locating him, and he is fortunate to be alive, all thanks to his loyal dog. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. Have a great rest of your night.